person neither supporting nor opposing candidates or political parties at any level of government, but always working on vital issues that concern our members and the public. Please read more about our league in your program, and there's more information at the back table. I'd like to thank tonight's attendees at this event. School board candidates Clayton Hoyt, Dennis Dodge, Coulter Diekman, and Andrea Morgan was invited and ended up with a work conflict. So I will read a statement from her a little bit later. Thank you all for being with us. Thanks to our member volunteers. Anna Mae is going to be our timekeeper, so you'll know where to look. And thank you to Northwoods Bank for providing this meeting space. This forum is being recorded by our league and by Park Rapids Enterprise. And League of Women Voters sponsors candidate forums to provide the public with an opportunity to hear candidates discuss the issues that are important to members of the public. The views expressed in each forum are those of the candidates, not those of League of Women Voters.
May I stop you for 1 second? I'm not sure this is running. Sorry, I'm brand new to this.
Okay.
I don't see where the numbers are that you said I should watch for.
It should be up there. Okay.
So
Looks
where?
like the green part's up, so let's trust it.
Okay.
One of the three ought to get it. I may edit this out of here though. Okay, because the next statement is, editing is authorized only through official media reporting. Excerpts, edited clips of the candidate forums may not be used for partisan or political purposes. This forum is being recorded by the Enterprise, and we have our own backup video, which I put on YouTube and send everybody links to. The candidates have received the ground rules for this event, and as audience members, we ask you to remain as quiet as possible so that everyone may hear. We also ask please hold any applause or reaction until the forum is ended so that the candidates can use their full time to answer your questions. The league will determine which questions will be asked and will attempt in good faith to cover areas of interest expressed by the audience. Questions will be screened and similar questions will be consolidated so that as many topics as possible can be covered. Only questions related to the school board will be asked. No questions of a personal nature or that are inappropriately hostile or unclear in their intent will be asked. Our goal is to have a civil conversation on the issues and give you the information you need when you vote. During the event, you can raise your hand and a member or volunteer will come and pick up a card if you think of a question while this is going on. We're going to start the forum with an opening statement from each candidate, and they will be given 2 minutes for their opening statement. And we will end with another 2-minute closing statement. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question. So let's get started. And we're going to start down at the end with Dennis. We'll start with you with your opening statement.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for my voice. I lost it somewhere along the way, but I'll do my best. For those of you that don't know me, it all began in Denison, Iowa. That's where I was born. After 2 years, I told my folks, we gotta get out of this place. So we moved to South Minneapolis, where I grew up. Went to elementary school at Holy Rosary Parochial School. From there, I went to South High School, public school, and graduated in 1968. Upon graduation, I joined the U.S. Army and did my tour in Vietnam, came back to the States, and married my 8th grade sweetheart. After I got discharged out of the military, we moved up north here to God's country, Park Rapids area, and been living here since. We have 3 fantastic children. They're all great kids and everything else. Of course, I'm a little biased on that one, but they are awesome. We had a little bump in the road along the way, and I ended up having full custody of my 3 kids and raised them as a single parent for about 15 years. It was fantastic. I mean, for the situation I was in, I couldn't ask for better kids to go with. They all graduated from the Park Rapids area school, and they're all doing fine now. After they graduated, I ended up marrying a lovely lady, and she had 3 children also. So we became an instant partridge family. My 3, her 3, and we had 2 foster kids. And all the kids graduated from Park Rapids School District. And they all are fantastic. I'm very proud of all of them. I'm from the old school. When I grew up, I believe in God, country, and family. Or God, family, and country. And I also believe in teaching the 3 R's. Reading, writing, arithmetic. And also, I want our kids to be educated, not indoctrinated. So, that's about all you're going to get, because I'm running out of time. Thank you.
All right, Coulter, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, my name is Coulter Diekman.
You may have to put it up closer.
Hi there. Sorry about that. My name is Coulter Diekman. I'm running for school board. I have lived in this community since 2007. I have a wife and 2 kids, both which attend Century Elementary and Middle School. I have had a career in law enforcement is kind of how I entered this community. Prior to that, I grew up in Walker, Minnesota, where I was a graduate of Walker High School. I attended law enforcement school, at which time I graduated and joined the Hubbard County Sheriff's Office. I started at the Hubbard County Sheriff's Office in 2004, and my roots have been here ever since. So I quickly moved up from patrol officer to investigator, and I worked in that capacity for 5 years as general investigator. From there, I started in narcotics, so I worked with the Paul Winning Drug Task Force and was assigned to the FBI and U.S. Marshal's Office out of Bemidji. I have a vast amount of experience in narcotics, a lot of training in active shooter type stuff, and that is one of the reasons I chose to ask for candidacy of the school board. Public safety is a big priority to me, excuse me. Safety of our children and their education is so important, especially in today's day and age with all the violence and stuff like that. I have a vested interest in this community and the future of our youth. I'm a coach. I coach my daughter, I coach my son, and each of them are in 2 different sports that I coach them in. I've recently joined the Basketball Boosters program, and sorry about that. I have a vested interest in this community. I plan on being here for the rest of my life. So school is important to me. The education is very important to me. Thank you.
Okay. Clayton?
Hi everyone, I'm Clayton Hoyt. My family has lived in Park Rapids since 2004. I'm currently in my 2nd term serving on the school board in District 309. First being elected in 2014 and then again in 2018. My wife Tricia and I have 2 sons that graduated from Park Rapids Area High School and are currently enrolled in different colleges in North Dakota. I was fortunate enough to hand each of my boys their high school diploma. I first decided to get involved with the school board back in 2014. I had served a few terms on the board of a couple local sports associations and felt the pull to do some more. I wanted to help make an impact on more students' lives and had seen my father serve on the school board in my small hometown. I grew up in a community of about 200 people and graduated with a class of 12. There was no such thing as college in the classroom or post-secondary or any other opportunities beyond what our very talented teachers were able to give us. I was an average student that went on to college, but I was not prepared for that jump coming out of high school. In fact, not a single classmate of mine graduated college in 4 years. This is something that has stuck with me. As a parent, I've always been very vocal with my boys about being prepared for whatever they wanted to do after high school. I realize that college isn't something that everyone wants to pursue. Our job as adults, and especially school board members, is to provide the necessary tools and the opportunities to prepare all these kids for whatever they want to do, whether it be college, trade school, military, or the workforce. I feel that in my 2 terms I've served on the board that we are continually making decisions that are impactful in a positive way to the students in District 309, From maintaining smaller class sizes to putting the day-to-day decision makers in place, to putting together the referendum to address some space and programming and safety concerns. I'm proud of the impact we are having on the youth of District 309 and would love to earn the opportunity to continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. The hardest part is the statements. All right, and this is the statement that Andrea Morgan asked me to read. First, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting tonight. My apologies for not being able to attend. My name is Andrea Morgan, and I was born and raised in Park Rapids. I have 3 children, Hannah, a sophomore in college, Brandy, a sophomore in high school, and Tyson, a 4th grader. I have been involved in youth sports for the past 11 years. I have ran our youth boys and girls basketball program for several years and have been on our track and field booster club president for the last 7 years. Everything that I've done with the boosters is solely for the kids. I have become a familiar face and have had kids come up to me for help at meets if they can't find their parents or coach. I'm running for school board because I feel that I can help make a difference at a higher level. I'm not running with the purpose of trying to change anything specific. I have a lot of energy in everything that I do and want to help make a difference for the greater good for the kids. When a decision needs to be made, I want to make an educated decision. I don't base a decision on one side. I listen to all sides so that I can make a fair decision. Okay, and we will start with the first questions, and I've got a chart that's going to try and rotate between so that never anybody, same person does not always go to first all the time. If I get mixed up, you guys can help me out. All right, and we're going to start with Clayton and Dennis and Coulter in that order this time. So what were the issues that motivated you to run for school board?
There was not one specific issue, I guess. When I first started talking about it was with Mr. Banks that actually I coached baseball with. I knew there was a need. I'd been thinking about it, you know, ever since I was in high school, remembering my dad was, like I said in my statement, my dad was on the school board. Nothing specific. I certainly didn't have an agenda when I first ran, and I don't have an agenda now either. I just, the betterment of all kids, certainly would like to see graduation rates go up. And just provide opportunities for any kid to be successful.
Okay, and Dennis?
Yeah. Okay, that's a long time back, but the reason I ran is because, as I said before, I was a single parent. And not only were my kids important to me, but all their friends and all the other kids in the school were important. And I just felt there was a need for somebody to step in and stand up for them, stand up for the staff, and fight for the best education we could possibly give them. So that's the reason I started 32 years ago.
And Coulter?
All right, thank you. The primary reason that I am running for school board is school safety. That's my ultimate priority with our children. You put a lot of kids in a small area and what's considered a soft target. I appreciate the current school board. I wanted to run to fill the shoes of Steph Carlson, who is not running. She's a very, very good school board member. She put a lot into this community, and I want to continue that. The school board, the police department, and the school staff have put a lot of effort into school safety. They've made some excellent strides compared to where we used to be a few years ago. Primarily, the chief of police, Jeff Apple, was an integral part in that. I want to continue that, but in a different capacity with law enforcement. Law enforcement has taught me a lot. I've been through a lot, and I want to continue that trend into the school. So school safety is my main priority. I want to ensure a good education for these kids as well. I think there's some things that we can add to our education system that will help us.
Thank you. This time we'll start with Coulter, go to Dennis, and then Clayton. How would you communicate with your constituents and get feedback from them?
obviously, you know, it's a board, so not everyone is gonna agree with the same topics. We may have different, life experience in different aspects of life. We may not agree all the time. Open communication is the key in that aspect. We have to just be able to communicate openly, whether it's in person, communication through email, be able to work through problems, and come to a common ground. So anything that we need to do, we should do collectively in the best interest of the kids.
Dennis?
Over the many years that I've been on the board, I've always told parents that if they have a question or any problems, that they can call me at home at any time they want to. I will not take care of the problem myself right off the bat, but I will steer them in the right direction to go up the chain of command. But I think it is very important for parents to know that they're not pushed out of this whole educational purpose, that they should be very involved, especially nowadays with what's going on in the school systems. So parents, if you ever had a problem, they would call me many, many times because they know they could depend on me, and we'd bring it all the way back up to the full board through the chain of command. So that's how I communicate with them. That's how I have for this many years, and I will continue to do so. Because you have a voice, because it is your children, and we care about them. Thank you.
I'll echo what both these guys said. I'm certainly open to phone calls, texts, emails, whatever means of communication anybody wants to ask questions. And like Danny said, steer them in the right direction as far as chain of command goes, and hopefully we can get the answers that you're looking for.
All right, next question. Next question's going to Clayton, Dennis, then Coulter. So what do you think are the three major issues facing our school district, and how would you address or fix the issue?
Me first?
Yeah, you first.
Three major issues that we're facing. One is school safety. Another is programming needs, and enrollment is another one. That I guess bus garage is certainly an issue as well. And we've addressed all of these with the recent referendum. Just getting the solutions, I guess, started is the main process there. But you know, the community has done a great service to the students in our community as far as providing the funds that we need to take care of these issues.
Dennis?
Three main issues that I believe is very important. As Clayton said, is safety. Safety is the most important thing, not only for our children, for the staff and all the employees at our school. And I think that everybody should be accountable for their actions in their school district. I will never not allow or let it happen that any of our teachers, staff, or students for that matter, be abused physically or verbally. So that's one of the big issues there. Again, the other issue is promoting vocational training, you know, in the trades. A lot of kids can't go to college, don't want to go to college, can't afford to go to college. So we got to push the trades because it's very important and they're right there for everybody. Again, the third thing is the education of the kids or the safety of it.
Thank you. All right, this time we'll start with Dennis, Coulter, and then Clayton. Coulter, sorry.
That's all right.
I told you you're going to need to help me.
Three major issues. Obviously, based on my last two answers in my opening, it's going to be safety. I have a lot of experience in that and hope to share some things, if elected, that we can capitalize on with my experience. One major issue that I have an issue with is retention, teacher retention. We have way too many openings every single year, and we need to keep the teachers that we have, weed out the bad ones, keep the good ones. And if we can continue to do that, I don't know if it means more pay, I don't know if it means more staff accountability, I'm not sure. But I want to get in and dig in deep with that. He said work study programs. I 100% agree. I think that kids are exiting school, if they're not planning on going to college, they have no options after that. We need to teach them how to be adults, whether it means investing, budgeting, trades, etc. If college isn't an option, they need options.
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll go with Dennis, Coulter, Clayton on this, and I'm going to combine sort of two questions here because they're both about books. First one is, in this current environment, how should a school board approach assessing books that have been challenged by the public? And then another question was asked about teachers having to catalog the books that they have in their own classrooms and trying to share that with their parents and things like that. So is that something that's being done now here, or is that just one of those national things going on?
Again, the way the world is today, especially society, books are not the way the books used to be. Things are slid into schools, not necessarily ours. I think we keep track of what's being pushed into our libraries or even into the classrooms. But we have to be aware, and that's why I think it's so important for parents to know what is being taught to your kids. Don't just assume everything's perfect, because it isn't. So a lot of times if the parent happens to hear that, oh, it's a secret. No, there's no secrets in public school or parochial school or any other school. The parent has the right to know what's being taught and should question everything that's being taught. So I believe we've got a committee right now of what books are being put into our library, but that doesn't mean parents should not check also. So again, society is changing and we got to change with it. Just be aware what's being taught or trying to be taught.
Coulter?
Yeah, he's right. So we have to look at what we're teaching our kids first of all, and it's very important that we're teaching them, one, history, and two, that we're not teaching them things that are just a political agenda or the new trend. There is a book that was in the Park Rapids School community, I'm not going to name the name of the book or the person that relayed that information to me, that instantly was about hating law enforcement. And that touched home with me. And I don't want our kids to be subject to any materials like that. Our kids need to be taught reading, math, arithmetic, our history, and things that will benefit them as they go on into their adulthood. Critical race theory, I'm not a proponent for it. So that is not something that I would be a proponent for at school.
As part of the school board, I sit on a committee called the World's Best Workforce, where we do curriculum reviews on an annual basis, I guess. So we do look at currently what books are, the instruction books, that part of it. I guess I don't look at the specific libraries that are in each classroom kind of thing, but like Denny said, there is a committee that does follow that. Yeah, that's all up there.
All right. Thank you. This time we'll go Clayton, Dennis, Coulter, and do you support the Common Core curriculum, and why or why not?
I guess I would ask for, sorry about that. I would ask.
Yeah.
The Common Core.
That's what the question asked.
I guess I would ask what would the definition of that be?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. When I was teaching 10 years ago, they weren't calling anything a Common Core. So it may be just what they mean, what the State Department of Education is recommending. Anybody else have any take on that?
I'm with Clayton. Common Core, and years back, Common Core was your basic education, your 3 R's. and as Clayton said, and teaching real American history. Not trying to hide it or cover it up. But nowadays, what is Common Core? I agree with Clayton also that I need a little bit better explanation what Common Core is, because if we're going by what the Department of Education in Minneapolis or the Federal Department of Education is saying we should teach our kids, no, I'm absolutely against it. I'm totally against it. I'm totally against their beliefs of CRT. I'm totally against their sexual ideology. I'm totally against them saying it's okay for males to participate in female sports or use the female locker rooms, or for that matter, female restrooms. I wouldn't want my daughter to have some guy walking on her in the locker room or the restroom. So Common Core, I'd have to know what you want from Common Core.
Okay, let's just go on to the next question
Yeah,
then.
that's fine.
All right, this time we'll just Clayton, Dennis, Coulter, pretty much that same one. As a school board, how would you respond to parents concerned about what's being taught in the classroom, and who should have the power to decide the curriculum? You've sort of touched on that before, but I think it's that who should decide, the important part.
Does this sound better?
Yeah.
It always comes back to the parents, I guess, and we as school board members represent that parent voice, I feel. And as I mentioned, that World's Best Workforce Committee, where we do decide on curriculum of different subjects, there are parent representation on that committee as well. It all comes back to the parents making, with us advising the teachers and the administration on what direction to go, I guess.
Dennis?
Again, as I said before, the parents have to know what's going on in schools. And then they bring it to the school board, and we can turn around and send it back to the committees to find out what's going on. But ultimately, it comes down to the school board deciding what stays and what goes. We gotta keep track of what's going on. I seen at a meeting not too long ago, something they're trying to teach down in the cities. And it's sex education for kindergarten kids all the way through elementary. In that book, I was appalled at what I saw. I mean, when I was a younger man, I saw a few magazines at that time, and that would put them magazines to shame. It is just disgusting what's trying to be pushed. So parents, again, grandparents, society, community, be aware of what's going on, not only in our schools, but around the area. So again, get a hold of the school board, we'll steer you in the right direction, but it comes down to us as school board members, because you put your children in our hands, and you have faith and trust in our decisions.
As far as the response to parents' concerns, obviously we should be available to listen to all of their concerns, whether it's in an open meeting, an email, privately. I believe that school board members have a school email where they can voice concerns. We are elected to represent the voting community, so the concerns should be all heard. How to respond to those? I think that a good start is to implement policies, follow those policies, a chain of command, but still have a voice or reason. If there's an issue that needs to be addressed, we as a board should address it. And if we need to address it with staff or the management, principals, vice principals, superintendents, etc., we can have those concerns in an open forum. I'd like to make everything as open as possible. Citizens have their concerns, and we need to address them and be open to listening to them.
Okay, Coulter, Dennis, and then Clayton. Would you as a school board member have any concerns about continuing release time? And I believe that applies to the Century School students.
Can you clarify that before I answer it? Continuing release time.
Yeah, I think they're released for an hour or so at the end of the school day, or at the beginning. Right in the middle, okay. So what, to attend the church of their choice for like a Sunday school thing, or a church school.
If it is in regards to church school, again, we can go back to parents. If parents want to send their child to a church-related event that disrupts school, I am all for it. So I think that God, family, absolutely. They all should be entitled to go to any church event that, if that's what we were talking about here with this question, they should all be entitled to do so. And an hour a day is not a big deal. I think we can make that up in the other school days as well. It's one Wednesday, I believe, for an hour. So I'll take that all day. If they want to go longer, I'd be for that too.
Okay, yeah. Dennis?
Okay, time release time. Time release for the kids is very important in my opinion, as was stated earlier. We have always, the Park Rep have been very fortunate. We've always had release time for our kids. God is being pushed out of everywhere in society. They're being pushed out of government, they're being pushed out of schools, they're being pushed out of home, they're even being pushed out of churches. So if we do not have release time for our kids, what are we gonna do? I know with COVID, we shut it down for the 1 year, and this last year, I put up a good battle to get it going again at our every day or every week, once a week, so we continue it. And I think it's very important. We have to let our kids know that God's in charge of everything, and it's important. If they can't learn at home, if they can't learn it through society, then let's help them learn it through our school system. So, yes, I fought very hard for it, and the school unanimously pushed it through that we have a policy now that release time will be forever.
I've always supported and will continue to support that we let our kids go to release time, take part in that.
Okay, thank you. Keep trying to turn the microphone off and I think I'm in the wrong spot. There, now we're back on again. And see, so Dennis, Coulter, Clayton on this one. Park Rapids seems to lose a number of students to neighboring districts. Why do you think students opt to go elsewhere? And secondly, what do you think the purpose of doing to encourage students to stay in Park Rapids?
That's been a troubling question for 32 years to me, is why our kids leave Park Rapids and go to neighboring schools. Some kids just leave as soon as they can to drop out of school, get a job, so they can get a truck or whatever they want to do. And some of the neighboring schools, our kids seem to think that they can get credits faster or easier in different schools. But Park Rapids is one of the greatest schools in the area, with all the stuff that we have available for all of our students to participate in different classes. They shouldn't be leaving our school, but we still do. So how are we going to retain them? Just keep pushing and trying to do our best to keep them there.
Clayton, I think you're next on.
To me, it's about providing the opportunities and the programming that is going to interest kids, whether it be the trade classes or whatever. One thing that is encouraging, when you compare last year, the last day of school, to 2 weeks into this year, the high school anyway is 38 students ahead of last year of the same classes. So is that a trend? I don't think you can say that yet. But hopefully that's something that's going to maintain throughout the year. But I liken it to anything. Why do people doctor in another community? Why do people go buy vehicles in another community? I think it all works out in the end, I guess, that way.
Thank you. Loss of students to other districts, I don't have an answer for that. Things that come to mind would be consistency with our staff and retention of our teachers. If you have a teacher that stays with us, they're going to continue to grow in this. I think the fields that we teach, whether it be tech, additional programs for like job studies, college courses also is a big one. I know our school has college courses where kids can gain college credits in high school. That's a big thing. That saves them a lot of money. If we expound on that and advance that even further, I think that'll draw more kids here, especially kids that are low income that maybe can't afford to go to college. And if we continue to do that, I think we can keep kids here.
All right, next question, and we'll go with Clayton, Coulter, then Dennis. It appears that Park Rapids has a high number of sports and clubs in the school, in a school for its size. If a student, and not every student is very competitive, do you think it's okay to have them involved, and how would you change or encourage the situation?
I guess I don't know what the question is asking. Are they asking why are we not seeing more success? We have too many. We have too many sports.
I think that's sort of in that line from what I'm reading it.
I guess to me, your clubs, whether your athletics or your drama, your music, everything that the outside public can see is a window into your school district. And whether that shows a successful school or not is, it's very subjective. We certainly have a lot of offerings for whether it be sports or clubs or whatever. I think it's something that does water down participants, I guess. It spreads people out where we don't have.
Okay, Coulter?
Okay, I'm going to try and remember exactly what the question is, but our town does have a lot of sports, especially for our size. We're in I think, Class 2A in most of our sports. So we play the bigger schools, obviously. The one thing I will say about sports is sports does give a child structure. The kids that I coach, they look forward to coming to these sports. It holds them accountable. It teaches them responsibility and work ethic. So sports are important. Because we have several different sports, kids aren't interested in just basketball or just volleyball or just one certain sport. We do have we have a broad range of sports in this community. So the interest, even though we are spread thin, still I think helps our kids if we can get them interested in some of these sports. Like I said, it holds them accountable. It teaches them responsibility and work ethic. So I'm all for sports. I'm not going to push sports as the main category because education comes first, but sports certainly does help a kid's character.
We at Park Rapids here are very fortunate. Not only do we have plenty of sports for all our students to participate in, but they also have many other things to be involved with. We have the math group, and we have the chess team, and we have the choir, band, all those different things to be involved with. This last year we just we signed up so that the techies could get into competition, technology. So whatever we think is going to help our kids, especially the ones that don't want to play football, don't want to wrestle, don't want to play hockey, they have a mindset on something else, so they are very good in that lane. So we try to implement and let them go for it. So as I said, Park Rapids is very fortunate to where we can allow them to have stuff that they are interested in. It's kind of like our next door neighbor in Nevis in their robotics. They're unbelievable, but it's taken off. That's the niche they found.
Okay, we'll start with Dennis, Coulter, and Clayton. What do you see as the role of the school board in resolving disputes between school administration and parent or community members, as well as significant differences of opinion among the parent community group?
Oh, our role as a school board is to settle disputes. We first got to find out what the problem is. Is it a legit dispute, or what is the problem? And again, we got to go through the chain of command to find out what the problem is, come all the way up, see if we can settle it on the way up. If it gets to the board, then it's up to the board to discuss and find out what's going on, what's happening, what's the problem, and how can we solve the problem. We don't need any other problems. We're here to educate our kids, our students, but we also don't want to have any problems either. So if there is a problem, we go through the chain of command, but it does end up on the school board's lap. It's one of the things that makes it hard sometimes is when it comes to the school board, we got to decide on disciplinary action. So it's one of the toughest things that I've had to do.
Okay, role of the school board in resolving issues between board, parents, staff. In it, like every profession, business, you need a chain of command. So the school board's going to implement policies. Staff and administration is going to execute. Parents are going to have concerns. So we have to figure out if those concerns are going to affect the entire school community and how to address them. So if we have a major issue that we're unaware of that maybe disrupts one of our policies, then we need to address it as a board. Collectively, we are a board, so it gets voted on. So everyone has different ideas on how things should be, but collectively I think we can work through them with open communication with staff, parents, and the board. So, I mean, communication will solve a lot of those problems. You're not going to make everyone happy. There's going to be parents that are unhappy with the way you run things, but collectively and for the overall good of our students, that is the most important thing, and I think we can resolve that with just some open discussion.
All right. Your turn. Yep.
I guess in my mind, I don't see us as a micromanagement tool. You know, like Benny said, you follow the chain of command, and the administration gets the direction from us to solve those problems. And if it does get to our level, it's been escalated at that point. So.
All right, thank you. Let's go with, we'll start with Coulter and go to Dennis and then come back to Clayton on this one. How should the school board support all staff in addressing a balance between academic and mental health needs of students?
Mental health, it's an issue. I've dealt with it my entire law enforcement career. Mental health, as of the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years of my law enforcement career, has been growing, and it is a need. It's a concern. It really is. I deal with more mental health patients than I ever have within the last few years, like I said. And the more that we need, we have to provide school staff with the tools necessary to deal with those issues. Just like my career, the amount of training that I've had in mental health issues has just doubled and tripled. So it's an ongoing, fluid issue that we need to address. And if they have issues, they should voice it with administration. And if it needs school board attention, then we should deal with it at that point. We collectively, again, can figure things out as a board, and I think that mental health issues is a growing concern in the community. We see it every day. So,
as Coulter said, mental health has just exploded in the past few years, and we've got to be aware of what's going on. And the first people to see the students in the day are the bus drivers. So we can't count out the bus drivers. They are aware of what's going on also, and they know their kids that ride their bus, and they can see problems. So therefore they pass it on to the right people to address that problem. The staff, same way, the teachers, they know what's going on. But mental health has gotten to the point where it's gotten so violent. It's not just pounding in the corner or whatever. It has been getting violent. And again, I will do everything possible to protect not only our staff, our teachers, but also the whole entire staff, the employer, all the employees throughout, and also the other students, to protect them from abuse, physical or verbal.
Okay, we've got just a couple questions left, and then, so you go ahead.
Okay. Our role is,
I was waiting for him, sorry.
our role is to provide the training and the staff that's necessary to help recognize all these new situations to us. And I think, you know, whether that means more social workers right directly in our schools, I guess that's something we have to look at. But with the staff comes the funding, and that's our job, is to determine what priority everything meets, and we go from there.
Okay. All right, next question. We'll start with you, Clayton, and then do Dennis, and then Coulter. What is your strategy to inform yourself about a problem, and where do you go to look for information and possible options?
That's pretty vague.
Can you repeat it before he gets time?
Okay.
I just want to write it down.
Yeah, what is your strategy to inform yourself about a problem, and where do you look for information or possible options? It's sort of, the gist of it is, how do you educate yourself?
So with my job, I'm fortunate enough to have Thursdays off usually. So, which you know, this I'm going to take away the vagueness of the question a little bit here. I like to go in and sit down with Lance on Thursdays, quite often, just to get an idea on what the issue of the week is or whatever, and sometimes just a chat, yeah, Mr. Banks said, you know, what's the story this week, kind of thing. I do like to do that. I'm also a researcher. I whether it's Google or news sites, whatever. I like to. I certainly do a little research and try to get myself as informed on all sides of everything, just so I can make an educated decision, I guess.
Again, what I keep pushing and keep asking and telling people, whether it be the staff or especially the parents or anybody else for that matter, if there's a problem, please come to me. Let me know what's going on so we can find out the solution to the problem. What I do is, if I hear something, I go to the superintendent, let him know, and also tell people to go through the chain of command again. But we also have Minnesota School Board Association, so if there is a deep-rooted problem, we can go through there to find out, is there a solution to this problem? Are we just one of many that has this problem? But again, it's not up to just the school board to realize what's going on, but it comes right down to the parents. Because those kids are with you just as much as they're with the school. So be aware of what's going on, please. And let us know if it's not right. If you see something questionable, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to get a hold of somebody and bring it to our attention. Again, we want to hear from parents. We want to hear from the community so we don't get deeper and worse problems.
I really don't have any more to add than what they've already stated. I mean, open line of communication with staff, parents, and to inform myself about problems that may be in the school. Like Clayton said, I mean, speaking with the administration, having an open dialogue with them, having the comfort of them being able to come to you to express their concerns and address them if you need be. I can't imagine that Park Rapids has many unique situations or problems that any other school has dealt with. So other schools have probably dealt with this as well. So I'd imagine that we would be able to reach out to some of these other places and communicate with them as well as to how they addressed it and make our own informed decisions on how to address problems.
Okay, and let's, with this question, let's start with Coulter, go to Dennis, and then Clayton. How would you direct education to prepare graduates to thrive in this greater world?
I've kind of touched on a little bit of this. Another thing that I want to implement with this school is both the guys to my left and right have talked about it, trades. So we need to set these kids up for success, whether or not they go to college or not. These kids need to have the tools given from us and the teaching staff to succeed whether or not they go to college. That's very important. If they choose to go to college, we're gonna set them up with the tools prior to that so they can gain some of those college credits before they even enter college. That saves them a lot of money. Money is hard to come by nowadays. So the kids that can't go to college or don't have any interest in college, whether they want to work in a trade, like I said, or get into more tech type stuff, we need to give them those tools. So I would see to it that we are putting more emphasis on those sort of things, not cutting programs like that. We need to keep expounding on them.
Again, I think all school districts are in the same position to where we want to push the vocational trades and that type of thing. And we got a great partner up north, North Country Vocational Technology Group up there, and they have done unbelievable things for our school district and also the consortium of, I think it's 13 or 14 other school districts, where they get grants and they can bring new machines, new tools, new everything into our school district, the same as other school districts. And this helps our students. Again, I can't push hard enough that not all kids want to go to college. If they can go to a tech school after graduation, that's great. And now what's happening is these vocational trades are also being like a college degree type situation, to where they get credit for what they're learning now down here in high school. So vocational trades are very important for our kids.
I believe I said it in my opening statement as well, where our job as adults, and especially school board members, is to provide the necessary tools and the opportunities to prepare all kids for whatever they want to do, whether it be college, trade school, military, or the workforce. We, as part of the referendum, we have 7th and 8th graders moving over to the high school campus where they're going to have that opportunity now, and it goes back to the enrollment thing earlier. Are we losing kids because they don't have that? So we provide the trades, something that they have an interest in, and maybe our enrollment continues to project higher.
Okay, thank you. All right. I don't think there's, well, I think we can sneak one more, the last question in, and then do our closing statement. So on this one, let's just sort of go Clayton, Coulter, Dennis. I've run out of my chart. To what extent do you feel that parents should be the voice for their children?
I say this as a parent. You should always advocate for your child. Now, does that mean you always take your child's word over the teachers if say it's a discipline issue? Absolutely not. But you have to advocate for your child at all times. And I am probably guilty of not doing that with one of my boys a little, as much as I could have. But we got through everything and everything's good. So, but I will always maintain that as a parent, you have to advocate for your child.
Parents are number one. 100%, they are number one. We're putting our trust in a school board and a staff that they're going to make the right decision based on our beliefs. Again, not every parent is going to agree wholeheartedly with everything that the school does, but we can find common ground in that. But when it comes to parents making a decision about their child, 100% they have that right. That's pretty much all I have to say about that, and there shouldn't be any question about it.
I agree with both Coulter and Clayton. Parents have 100% right to back their child up, especially when it comes to what they're being taught or what they're being exposed to. But they also have to be accountable. Their student has to be, or child has to be accountable for his or her actions. So we can't back up a child if they do something wrong. They have to be accountable, just like the rest of us. All adults, all of us people, have to be accountable for what we do. And the child has to learn that. And believe me, my 3 learned it, my other 3 learned it, and the 2 foster kids learned it real well. And they learned respect, accountability, and discipline. So parents, yeah, back up your child all the way, but also don't be afraid of tough love.
Okay. All right, we'll go to our wrap-up statements now, and I think I'm gonna have to start with Coulter and go to Clayton, and then Dennis will finish us up, and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. As we close, I want to thank everybody in attendance tonight. Thank you, League of Women Voters, for hosting this. We appreciate this. I've never done anything like this before, so this is new to me. A little flustered at the beginning, but kind of calmed my nerves a little bit and was able to answer questions the way I normally do. Why me? I would say that my passion and commitment to this community is number 1. My experience with law enforcement and my emphasis on school safety is number 2. I would like to keep capitalizing on the strides that this school board and staff has made with public safety. I think that is very, very important. And the safety of our children, just at least from my eyes, maybe not the most important for everybody, is the most important part. As far as budgeting, I mean, the school board has a huge responsibility for making sure that money is well spent. I run a small business. I don't run a business the size of the budget that's in the school board, but I am fully aware of budgeting, how to capitalize on your income and your expenses, and making sure money is going in the right direction. And I think that's equally important with the school board, that we make a conscious effort to make sure those funds are being used for what we need. So, community involvement. I'm a part of this community. I have been since 2004 when I started working here. I'd like to continue that for a very long time. I'm not just going to be a short-term board member. I'd like to be a long-term member and represent the community the best I can. And if you guys give me that opportunity, I won't let you go. Thank you.
I want to thank the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum tonight. The opportunity to share ideas and conversation with the community is invaluable and is much appreciated. I also want to thank my wife Tricia and her boys for the sacrifices they had to make when I'm conducting school board business that may take me from out of town from time to time, as well as for supporting me in my pursuit of the seat on the board. I don't like to miss anything and won't be able to without their support. I also want to thank the voters, parents, and students of District 309 for having given me their support in the last 2 elections where my name has been on the ballot. Thank you for trusting me with the future of your kids. My hope is that you'll continue to do so by voting for me again on November 8th. Thank you.
Dennis?
As was said, I want to thank the League of Women's Voters for having us here, and for all you people that are here today, whether you're here or watching the videos. I've lived in this area for 50 years, and I've been on the school board for 32 years. And I really want to thank all the people, the parents, and the whole community for having faith, belief, and trust and support that I've gotten over the 32 years. Had some rough times, had some great times, and we're going to continue to have some super good times. So all I can say is thank you very much. I would appreciate your support on November 8th, I believe it is. And Coulter, this is what happens when you get long range. So again, thank you very much, and to all the people in the community and throughout the state of Minnesota, thank you, because I've met some fantastic people through the Minnesota School Board Association meetings down the cities and through the different groups that I've been attached with. So thank you. Park Rapids is #1, and we hope to stay that way.
And thank you all for a great job of answering questions and things like that. Thanks for everyone to attend. We encourage you to attend tomorrow night's forum, which is District 3 County Commissioner. And that'll be tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, this room. And remember, early voting actually started last Friday, but your last day to vote is November 8th. So get your friends to the polls. Thank you again.